right, happy to have my next guest on the Sports Card Shop at Moco guest line. He's been referred to as the rookie card specialist, and we're definitely going to talk about that, but none other than Victor Roman. Welcome.
Hey, John, thank you for having me on, man. I'm excited. I've been listening to your podcast for a couple years now, anyways, and it's always like, man, what would I say if I ever had a chance to be on the Sports Card Nation? And it's pretty cool. I'm honored to be here with you.
Well, I'm honored to have you. That feeling is mutual. And here, I got to say this because it's how often does this occur? We're recording this an hour later than we originally had intended because unfortunately, I mean, thankfully you're okay, but at one point you were dealing with a tornado warning and some severe weather, and so we pushed it back an hour and.
Yeah.
Here you are, and I want to shout out you there for still doing it, albeit an hour late, and that's definitely understandable. And glad you're here. So real quick, I know it's the basic, boring kind of podcast starter question, if you will, but just kind of how you got into the hobby, just to kind of set a baseline for those that may not know.
Yeah. It's one of them things that it's really a progression. But in 1981 is when I started collecting, and I was 10 years old back then. And I guess what it comes down to is I grew up in what we call the rookie card boom, which
Yeah.
started in 1984 and lasted all throughout the 80s and even part of the 90s. And so we're talking my young years between 10 and 20 years old, and it was all about the rookie card back then for me. And so I continued to collect all through the 80s, and in 1994 I decided to become a dealer, and I started doing card shows all throughout the Northwest Indiana region, and was loving it. I mean, it was just a blast doing card shows and that sort of thing. And I continued heavily into that. And come around 2001, I started getting a little frustrated with the hobby. And really, what was the cause of my frustration was the amount of product that was being manufactured and released at the time. And I just felt like with Albert Pujols and Ichiro Suzuki and this whole transition of autograph cards and memorabilia cards that were going on, there was just a flurry of product that was being released. And as a dealer slash collector, I'm trying to keep up.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is I'm a married man with a career I had to think of as well, and I have 5 children, and so it got to the point by 2003 I tapped out. I left the hobby, and by early 2004 I sold everything I had to a friend of mine, and so I put the hobby down in 2004 and just decided to, what, I need to prioritize my life. I need to, I need to stay home and help my wife raise our children. And so that's what I did. And for 10 years, I stepped away from the hobby. Now, in 2014, I came back to the hobby. By this time, my kids are established. My kids are, they got their own jobs now. They're going to college, and the wife and I, we progressed in our careers. And so we're starting to have a little bit more discretionary income. And I was talking with a friend of mine. He's somewhat of a mentor friend of mine. And because I just felt I was in a season of my life where I just felt a little dry,
Mm.
and he advised me, man, what about, don't you have any hobbies? I mean, I've known you for years and all you do is work. He said, you need a hobby, So, okay. So I set out to, I did fishing and I did golfing and I tried several other things. And I said, man, it just didn't really do it. And then I remembered sports cards, baseball cards. And so I came back to the hobby in 2014, and I started first with breaks, right? Because I'm trying to get
Yeah.
up to snuff with the 10 years that I missed. And I started getting into breaks, but I found out that, it wasn't really doing, I didn't have a lot of luck with breaks, so I started buying collections. And I was going on Facebook and then going to yard sales. I was having a blast doing that, but it was exciting, but it wasn't really doing it. And then I remembered the last thing that I was into before I left the hobby was rookie cards of Hall of Famers and PSA slabs. And so I picked up on that again, and I found set registries, and the rest is history, man. I just got caught up with that, and that's my main focus today is rookie cards of Hall of Famers.
Yeah, and I do the same thing. That's my PC. Like you, we have similar backgrounds. I still do shows as a dealer, and I think we're around the same age, or we're in the same neighborhood anyway. And so you bring up a great point. You know, people ask me, you know, John, why do you like vintage better than modern? And just for the record, I do both, but I'm
Mhm.
more partial to vintage for something you kind of said in there is, you know, with vintage, you know, you didn't have 150 rookies of said player, right? We
Right.
know what the card is. We know 1960 tops is Yaz's rookie year. You know, we know 59 Bob Gibson, 55 Koufax, and we can go. You know, we can do this all day with all these Hall of Famers. Is really, for the most part, I mean, there's some exceptions, but there's usually just one rookie. You mentioned, you know, kind of starting in the 80s. Even then, there's more than one rookie with Topps Fleer and Donruss, but now you're only dealing with three cards at the
Right.
time, right?
Right.
Instead of, you know, one brand now, you know, one company. Now we got Fanatics now, kind of being the big bully on the block, so to speak. But
Yeah.
you know, before that licensing changeover, you know, you had three or four companies, you know, but you know, Topps is, let's be honest, and it's just, you know, 40 different baseball products in the same calendar year, and so
Yep.
whoever that rookie was for that year of card releases, you know, you're going to have potentially 40 or more. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Rookie cards, and to me that makes it difficult. You know what I mean, and confusing. I didn't maybe even more worse than difficult, makes it just confusing. Like, which one do I want? Oh, I like this one. Oh, wait, I didn't see that one, and it can be daunting for someone who's maybe player collecting, prospecting, rookie chasing, whatever, you know, whatever
Yeah.
category they fill, and that's why I like the vintage. When you're, you know, like you, I do collect graded Hall of Fame rookie cards, and it's nice knowing, hey, that's the one I got to get. There's one. That's the
Yeah.
year. That's the release. You know, whatever sport, right? 1958 tops in football. Jim Brown's rookie year. You know, uh, Gretzky has, you know, one rookie card. Now you got to pick your poison, tops or O-Pee-Chee, but it's still basically
Yeah.
the same card. And so it's just a lot simpler to knock things off your list and check them off your list than it ever would be today. I always say this, Victor. I'm glad I kind of grew up in the card age that I did, because you appreciate that
Yeah.
living it than those, you know, younger folks today that don't, you know, they can still experience those cards still exist, but we were literally, you know, around when those releases came out. So,
Right.
you know, I think there's something to be said about that. Now, speaking of, you know, rookies, I know that's something that's centralized to you, and a main focus of your content. And you know, it's the age-old debate. That's the other thing too. We didn't even get into, like, you know, with Bowman releases now and first Bowman. It's so muddied. The waters are so muddied. People are not sure what a rookie card is anymore. And I, you know, people ask me, and I've done this, you know, almost 40 years, and it's hard to give them a straight answer, because if you ask 10 people of a hobby to, you know, define a rookie card, you'll probably get six different explanations or
Yeah.
six different definitions. That to me is crazy, from growing up in the era I did, where, you know, it was just a simple answer, right? That
Yeah.
first card that was released, and we're not in that
And
era
and
anymore. So So I know you wanted to talk about, kind of your the way you dissect it, your dissertation, and I'm gonna, we're about again the same age. I'm most likely gonna be waving that pennant, but go ahead.
Yeah, this is kind of where it all started for me when I came back in 2014. Okay, now, I'm a big Chicago Cubs fan, and my wife and I we're big baseball fans. But I was wanting to get rookie cards of Chris Bryant and Javier Baez and
Yeah,
Francisco Lindor and those guys, and I was excited to go shopping for those cards. And I get on eBay for the first time in a really long time, and I punch in these guys' rookie cards, and I'm looking at Francisco Lindor and Javi Baez, and everything on the eBay listings for like the last 5 years says rookie card on it. And I'm thinking to myself, now I know I've been gone for 10 years, but something is definitely missing here. I'm not getting it. And so I'm trying to do some homework, and I'm opening up these auctions and taking a look at the cards. And I still, man, everything from like 2010 to 2015 said it was a rookie card. And then, but I did notice that some of them had a little RC logo on them. And I'm like, huh, that's different. What's that about? And so I started digging into this topic of the logo, and I started asking questions on hobby forums, and I started researching the internet and articles and trying to find out what has happened to the rookie card. And what I found a lot of people just like me, confused and frustrated with the state of the rookie card in the hobby. And and so this just inspired me to dig more and more into this topic. And I was getting excited with the things that I found. And I started a website in 2016, and that became my platform. And I started writing articles on my findings of what I was researching and trying to basically put this puzzle piece together on how the rookie card has evolved over the course of the decades. And what I found was just it inspired me then to continue this on and start a YouTube channel. And this is how come the rookie card specialist I get poked fun of by my friends, but that's more of a marketing
well,
thing because
they can poke fun at you, Victor, but let's keep it real. I'm gonna give you some props. But like you said, you're putting in the work, doing the research, trying to
yeah,
get to the bottom of this. It's not like you're not doing that and then giving yourself the title, right? That's easy.
yeah,
Anyone can do that, but you're doing the grind and trying to figure out
yeah,
what happened, where we go, and what's going on here. So yeah, man, I think you wear that badge with honor because you earned it. You're putting in the work. Too many people like to coin themselves things, and then that's where the work kind of
yeah,
ends. Is that they like the title, but they don't want to like kind of earn the belt, so to speak. So
yeah,
in your defense, I know you won't say it yourself. I'll say it for you. You've put in that work above and beyond. I think most people. I don't know. I don't know everybody out there, but
yeah,
you're right there with really doing that research and putting in that effort to try to kind of dissect what's going on here. But
yeah,
go ahead.
yeah. No, and what I ended up finding out um, at one of the hobby forums, I was asking questions, and I found a couple of threads on the topic, and somebody responded to me and said, "Look up Beckett Baseball Card Magazine, issue number 247, October of 2005, and that's going to help explain it to you." And so I sought that issue out, and I purchased it, and that issue explained the takeover of the Players Association as they gave the industry a set of standards to go by for the rookie card, because the PA got involved because at that time there was a lot of what they called consumer confusion. And there was a lot of confusion because the manufacturers were getting these players into the sets earlier and earlier and earlier. They were not only draft picks, they were not only prospects, but we were getting these guys in high school, and they were creating rookie cards of them and putting them into the set, and they never stepped foot inside of a Major League Baseball game. And so that is when the PA stepped in and said, "Look, we're going to have to give some 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 guidelines here, some standards on how the rookie card is going to look going forward." And so they released a press release, and there was some articles on Beckett about it, but they really set a set of guidelines that have really gotten forgotten about. They've been forsaken by the hobby over the course of the years. But here's the real rub, John, and here's what I've really come to understand is that the hobby has a set of guidelines also. So we have two sets of guidelines, but they don't talk to each other. And the card manufacturers don't follow what the hobby guidelines are. We want them to. I want them to desperately listen to the standards that the hobby has, that we've had for decades, that Dr. Beckett and his team established. But so we have two sets of standards that's causing a bunch of confusion because they're not speaking to one another. So with that said, it comes down to what my proposal is, okay, is that the rookie card needs reform. And that's really at the mission and the purpose of my content is I look at the past and present day status of the rookie card, all in an effort to better understand the future of this hobby icon. And the rookie card logo, this brand, it is a cultural icon in our hobby, but we don't understand it, and we really should.
Yeah, it's gonna get even more crazy. We're talking about something else, but you're right. It's like the Wild Wild West. I mean, that would while
Yep.
you were, it's like they're like one side believes it should be this way, the other side says, "Hey, we don't care. We're going to do it the way we want to do it. We're the sheriff in town, and here's what you get." And like you said, there's no communication. There's no sort of meet in the middle. There's no sort of compromise. So I'll ask you. I mean, point blank. I think your answer is going to, agree with how I feel. What do you consider in your rule? You know what I mean? According to Victor, what is the rookie? Is it the first card? Once the player cracks a big league field, is it the first card produced? I mean, what is it to you?
Yeah, and I ended up. It's really not what it is to me. It's really what's been established, and we have to look at. And I created a list, and I call it the 10 Commandments of the rookie
Yeah,
card. And the first five of those rookie card guidelines are what the PA gave us back in 2005, and they basically gave us a format. And then commandments 6 through 10 are what the hobby has declared as rookie card guidelines. And I've created this list of 10 things that it should be, and some of them are that we've used them for decades. That a rookie card should come from a base set, that it should be in
yeah,
pack form, nationally distributed, and uh, what's the other? Let me find my list here. I'm kind of
yeah.
fumbling here.
And well, let me ask you this: while you're looking for that too, what do you consider? Like, what are your thoughts on? Obviously this Bowman draft, and they're putting these guys on cards when they're 4 or 5 years away from the major leagues, potentially. Like you said, even you mentioned, Javi Baez's cards were rookies for 5 years. What do you, in terms of your collecting and your rules, what do you view like all these first Bowmans as?
I've really, I don't have an issue with the Bowman product prospect line because none of those cards have a rookie card identifier on them,
Yeah,
and they shouldn't, because that's what the guidelines state, and they do a good job at following the rules that the guidelines established. And none of those prospect cards or none of those prospect products have a rookie card identifier. So I technically don't have an issue with those. Now, what I have done is I have adopted the principles that the concept that ComC does, and to me, it's genius. When I found this, the light bulb just came on for me because I think that the hobby should follow something that ComC has established for years, and that is a pre-rookie card identifier, a rookie card identifier, and a rookie year identifier. And if we can begin to understand the guidelines just a little bit, we can then properly identify each card that we're looking at. And the concept is brilliant. So Bowman draft and those sorts of things, those are pre-rookie cards.
Yeah.
And they don't have a rookie card identifier, as they shouldn't.
I think the confusion for most will be the rookie year cards and the rookie cards themselves. So for those listening,
Yeah,
kind of differentiate. How do we differentiate between rookie year and rookie card?
great question. Great question. I'm really glad you asked that question. And this is where the waters get muddied
Yeah.
between old school collectors and young collectors, because old school collectors, our traditions have been that an insert card is not a rookie card. ComC has established those types of cards as rookie year cards.
Yeah.
And so what happens today? That's the hobby's guidelines, but manufacturers don't follow hobby
Yeah,
guidelines.
you see that art talking about that RC logo. You
They put
see
that
them
thing
on
on.
those insert parallels.
They put it on everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything gets plastered with the RC insignia, and that's man, it's not the way it's been. And so that's the differentiator there, is that rookie year cards, which constitutes, anything that is an insert card, an on-demand card, a subset card, uh, anything of that sort should be identified as a rookie year. It was produced and released in its rookie year, but it does not qualify because it does not have the other qualifying factors to be considered a true rookie card. It doesn't
Yeah.
come from the base set and those sorts of things.
Yeah, no, I agree. And we talked about that in the open, right? How compared to vintage, a player could have 40 rookies today. That's not even including those subsets that have the RC. If you want to include those,
Right.
now a guy, a rookie could have potentially, especially a highly touted rookie, because they're putting him in all those subsets ahead of a kind of ahead of schedule based on hype. A guy today could have 100 different
Hey,
air quotes rookie cards.
hey, John,
Yeah. Yep.
Shohei Otani was a rookie in 2018.
Yep.
Looking at the database, Shohei Otani has 2,870 cards produced in 2018, all of them with a rookie card insignia.
Yeah.
So he has what? Is that what the hobby he has 2,800 rookie cards?
And that's why I don't collect Shohei. Like, I like Shohei Otani, but that's why I'd never be like a super like, to be a super collector today. People used to chase rainbows before they got really off the rails. I mean, now to do a rainbow, there's 40 different cards to do that, and it's really it's crazy. And I don't think that, to me, my opinion, that's all it is. I don't think that's good. I think that sort of is kind of for someone sort of coming in the hobby, especially if you're coming back. Let's say you're like us and you left, and then you're coming back and you know it the way it was. That this is going to be some rough waters to navigate through, because, like you
Exactly.
said, you had this, like, what happened here? What's going on?
Yeah.
Let me get to the bottom. Let me get to the bottom of it. Like, at least you had the gusto to say, hey, I got to figure this out. There's going to be some that probably said, you know what, I'm out again. Like, this is just, I'm not going to deal with this. And I hate to see people leave. I like people in the hobby. That's how the hobby thrives. and gets better. But I'm sure there's a few people that just on that alone said, "Hey, this is just too confusing. I'm going to play poker. I'm going to do golf, whatever other vice. They said I don't need to be confused there. I know when I hit a bad shot or a good shot. I know when I got a good hand or a bad hand. I
Yeah.
don't have to guess about it." And that's where we are. And I mean, credit to you to try to, I know you care, you're passionate about trying to sort this out, but a lot of it's got to come, with all the work you're doing too, Victor. This. A lot of it's got to come from the manufacturers too, as far as
Yeah.
following rules, acknowledging rules first, and then following them,
Yeah.
second. We've sort of lost that, and now I want to segue into this. Now we got the NIL Fanatics / Tops just announced a collegiate deal where they can produce cards of men and women on the university level and college level. Obviously, before they get to the pros. They can now even make. I think the biggest news out of that, the biggest takeaway. We talked a little bit about this on the Hobby Hotline episode. Is now they can make even tops now of these men and women athletes, and there's going to be people that will argue that that first tops now card, especially if that tops now card is produced, let's say before, here we go with the base card stuff,
Yeah.
before their first appearance in a Bowman University product. There will be some that will die on that hill, Victor, and say this is their first ever card. This is the true rookie. This is the one. If this athlete pans out on the professional level in 2, 3, or more years, this is the card everyone's got to come back and get. It's the first ever appearance. I think is a lot of it comes from the comic book side too, right? When we see like superheroes in comics or characters in comic books, a lot of times they're not even in their own book first. They kind of appear in another line of comics,
Yeah.
and it's the first appearance of this character. That book becomes highly collectible. And then just the same when they get their own comic book, the first issue is also. I see sort of a parallel there. As crazy as it seems, comics and cards aren't really compared a lot, but I think in this regard, I think I can see the parallel there.
Yeah.
And with your criteria, I know, and I kind of agree with you that using that tops now example, you're not going to view that as a rookie card. You're gonna say, hey, when that's in the base set. But now here's the second dilemma. I'm throwing all this stuff at you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, Bowman University product comes out, whatever year, whatever, and now that same person that was on that Tops Now card a year or two before now has a regular, base card, if you will, numbered, 117 in the set. Now there's obviously colored parallels and all that jazz, but it has a regular, they have a regular base card, and then some are going to say, hey, that's the first. I know they're not in the big leagues yet or on the professional circuit, whatever the sport,
Yeah.
but here's their first base card. This is their rookie. Now, Bowman University is going to have that first Bowman logo that we're, probably the second famous, second or third famous logo, right? We got the RC, then rated rookie, and then probably first Bowman, whatever order you want to put them in. And so you're going to have that camp, right? That
Yep.
that side saying, hey, this is first base card out of a pack, out of a box. This is their true rookie. And I know you're going to say, hey, first, I think you're going to say first win a pro uniform. Uh,
Correct.
and and as many. And I'm at the point I don't even know anymore. Like I'm so confused. I don't know what to pick.
I
I kind of
understand.
just frustrated with like let's just go back to the way it was, and it's that first card where they're in their professional
Yeah.
uniform
No.
or they've already. But go ahead. Yep.
And what we need is what we need is structure, right? We need boundaries and we need ordinance, but that can't come from the hobby. The hobby is too big, and there's too many subjective opinions on what a rookie card is. That's how
Yeah,
come we need a legal authority. And that legal authority, this type of leadership, this type of rookie card guidelines should be coming from the Players Association. And they should be keeping the manufacturers accountable in clearing up these muddied waters. Now, I've always been of the opinion in your PC, you can call whatever card you want. If you want to call a fifth year card a rookie card, that's your card in your collection. Nobody can tell you, doggone it, what a rookie card is, because that's what you think it is, right? Hobby. The hobby is the people, brother, right?
yeah, that's
But
correct. Yeah,
here's my proposal. In your PC, you call it whatever you want. But when we're dealing with eBay listings,
yeah,
call it what it is. Call it what
yeah,
it is and not what you want it to be. And but what is it? Well, that's what I think needs to be established. This is why I believe the rookie card needs to go under reform. It's something that Dr. Beckett and his team has always made little tweaks and changes and progressed the definition of a rookie card.
yeah.
But since 2005, there hasn't been any update to the rookie card guidelines. And
Who?
so go
So
ahead.
obviously, we know that Fanatics is got most of the major sports, with the exception of hockey, retained by Upper Deck. They have a very good, at this point today, as the time we're talking, they have a great relationship with the Players Association. They have an equity seat at a table like they've never had before. I guess I could look. I guess it's like a two-sided coin there. I could look at that and make a case either way. I don't know if that's good or bad when it comes to having sort of these rookie card rules. Is the player association just saying, you know what, Fanatics, we're making out like bandits on this deal. We're getting paid. Our players are getting paid more than they've ever had before when it comes to the card industry. Do whatever the heck you want to do. Just, I mean, don't do nothing too crazy where we have to like make a comment on it, but go to town. Or do you think they care enough, like they did, like you mentioned, in the early 2000s, to kind of maybe set some ground lines? I mean, what do you think happens here with the new landscape?
I wish I knew, but
Yeah,
it's probably going to be, more of the same. I mean,
yeah,
they basically. Here's what I believe is a big issue: is the hobby doesn't have a seat at the table when it comes to agreements between the Players Association and manufacturers. There's nobody there that represents the hobby. In an essence, I jokingly say that the hobby needs a union. We need to unionize.
yeah.
But
No,
in all
you're right. We don't have really a voice. What
no,
I always say on the show, Victor, our voice is in how we spend our money,
there
right?
you go.
We
There you go.
we speak with our wallets and bank accounts. And if something's bad, if we need to, like, again, I'm not trying to like sabotage it, but speak with your spending habits. If you don't like what someone, a company, a brand is doing, don't support it, right? And
Right.
but the hobby's gotten so big that even if there is a faction that says, you know what, I'm not buying, company A's products no more. They did something terrible. The hobby's just so big that there's going to be 65% that either doesn't know what happened or slash knows and doesn't care. Like, whatever. I'm just see dollar signs, and if I can make a few bucks on this deal, I don't care what company A does, even though it bothered somebody else. I just want to make a few bucks, and that's where I think we've gotten off the rails a little bit, as a
Yeah.
hobby in general. Is
And
just
John, don't get me wrong. I don't want a narrow definition of a rookie
yeah,
card. Okay. Because that's not good. But neither is too broad of a definition. And I
yeah. You got
believe
to
that's the way the PA guidelines were written in 2005. We went from a more narrow definition because that's what the hobby wanted. and but now it's just blown wide open where they're very what I call vague, and so it allows the manufacturers so much wiggle room to create all of these little gimmick sets and all of these little we create gray area, and we create, well, wait a minute, why did they release the Acuna with the bat down and the bat up, and then why did they put
Yeah.
them in update, and so we start questioning, and we have no answers, we just confused,
Yeah.
and so
But listen, you know the answer is what I these companies will do, and I get it. They're a business. On one hand, I'll defend them to a certain length, but it's about dollar signs, right? Well, how do we hype this product? How do we get a buzz going, right? Hey, let's make two editions, right? One's going to be a real short print where everyone chases it, right? Opens more
yep,
wax. Breakers will want more products. So I think it's going to take, company almost now, uh, that says, you know what, we care about, our consumer. I think it's been, I think Upper Deck's probably the closest to doing that, and they do a fairly good job about that. But it's, I'd like to see, Fanatics hasn't really got fully underway, but when they do, I hope it's not just. I know they spend a lot of money on the licensing, and money's going to be the number one factor. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. I think they're being disingenuous, but and I get that. But I hope it's more than just that, Victor. You know what I mean? I get
yeah,
it has to be that, but like you said, maybe there's a place where they can meet in the middle and say, listen, we have to make money, but we also care about the hobby we're producing stuff in, and here's kind of how we see this debate, and how we maybe want to meet in that middle, so to speak, as you said. And
yeah,
I don't know if I gun to head, I don't know if I expect that, truth be told, but you like to wishful think, right, that some smart people on that side of the aisle will say, hey, if we're going to be in this for 20 years like this licensing deal is, let's try to make more friends than enemies, and let's try to
right,
figure this out. And I hope that's where they fall. I don't know. We're all speculating at this point, but what I've seen in the last 5-10 years doesn't lead me to believe, like you kind of mentioned, that we're going to see this moment. But you can hope, and you never know, right? We've seen some crazy stuff in this hobby that neither one of us would have ever predicted, right? We
yeah,
talk about the generation we come from, right? When we used to open packs when we were younger, right? If you would have told our younger selves then that, hey, someday we're going to pay someone else to like open our packs on a video screen, and then just send us our
yeah,
cards, right? We don't even get the adrenaline rush of opening our stuff. We just watch someone else do it. And I
yeah,
would have I would have thought you were nuts, right?
yeah,
At the time, right? Heck, when I had packs, I don't know about you. I've said this on the show, and my friends were like, either they didn't have any or they opened theirs already and maybe had a few more. Then let me open one of yours. I'm like, no, you open. Either I said you open yours already or get your own, right? I didn't even want
yeah,
you know, and yet here we are watching people open, our packs, our boxes, our cases, and just sending us if we get anything. That's the other thing, like you
yeah,
talked about. There's no guarantee that you're gonna have
nope,
a successful. So if you would have told me then, I would have thought you're nuts. So who knows what's on the horizon? Who knows? You
yeah,
know,
it's hard to
that,
speculate. I really shy away from speculating because it's just there's so much
yeah,
going on, there's so many pieces to the puzzle. Now we're adding the collegiate side of things, and it's just
it's
to try to predict what's going to happen next is difficult.
And if listen, you know where I'm going. And if you're going to be very, very rich because you're
Yeah,
going to be
yeah,
ahead of the trend. All right, let's end on a higher note. Not that that was terrible, but we're in the 30s. But when this comes out, we're going to be 30 plus days away from the National in Atlantic City, where there'll be some rookie cards in the building and some non-rookie cards. in the building. Just kind of speak to what you're looking for, what you're looking forward to. I mean, I don't want to. You like say you're looking for a certain card now. You got 10 people trying to get it before you, but kind of just what you're looking forward to. It what being so close to the national here, Victor.
Yeah. I've been using the national platform I've been putting together a PSA set registry of Roberto Clemente's um, tops run, or his what they call a basic set registry, which
Yeah,
entails 20 cards, and it's going to give you 19 tops cards, and the 1963 Fleer is also in there. Well, I
yeah,
have 12 of the 20, and I've been trying to put that one together for several years now, but I've been trying to do it. I'm trying to purchase the most expensive copy that I can afford,
yeah,
because that's going to be a key piece of my PC, and I want it to be of the highest quality within my budget. So I still need 8 cards to complete that set, and I'm going to go into the national looking to pick up 1 or 2 pieces for that registry. Uh, I'm a big Michael Jordan fan, uh, and so I'm always looking out for Michael. And of course, I love my slab boxes, bargain boxes for slabs,
yeah.
and I start plucking rookie cards like there's no tomorrow. So that's usually my game plan going in.
Yeah, and you know what? It's a great point, and that's a great game plan. That's, I mean, and I'm going to be doing like a preview show with the National with Mike Moynihan coming up here in a few weeks, and but going in there kind of with sort of intentions of mine, sometimes can be helpful. Now, sometimes maybe flying by the seat of your pants can be fun too, but I like to kind of go in. I'm doing my PC like we talked about is graded Hall of Famer rookie. So I tend to go in with like 6 cards on my kind of target list, and my goal is to, when the show's over, have 2 of those crossed out. Three would be even more successful, but 2 was sort of the goal, and anything past 2, again, obviously budget's a factor, but anything past 2, I'll be very ecstatic. And obviously, I think if meeting people for the first time, meeting people again, that's
Yep.
always fun. You almost need a day just to do that, for that matter. And
You
so
you picked up a few grails already this year,
I
haven't
did,
you?
which is why I'm gonna have less money to spend at the National. So
I hear you.
that 6 card target list I mentioned, if I pull 2 cards out of there, that will be an accomplishment, and at least one. I'll say this: I got to get one. That's the minimum. It's like a fishing, right? It'll be a
Yeah.
bad day fishing if you come home with nothing in your bucket. So I'm going in with one, hopeful for 2. Three's going to be a long shot. But yeah, you're right. That and the last 3, that I got in Dallas were sort of, I don't want to say unexpected. They were, but like I wasn't really planning on it. But 2 of them were in the same showcase and negotiated. The price was
They fell
too
in your
good to
lap,
walk.
right?
Yeah, too good to just walk away from it. But I tell you right now, I have. We talk about government spending freezes. I have a self-appointed sort of freeze between now in the national, and to kind of catch up on those bills so that we can spend again in Atlantic City. I'm sure I'll get I'll get something, but yeah, I've been it's fun. You gotta, but you gotta spend within your means too. So we can't. I'd like to get everything on my list, but I'd probably be looking for a new place to live. So
Yeah,
that wouldn't be no fun. So, but yeah, it's coming up, and look forward to meeting you and seeing you there and
absolutely.
talking some more. Obviously, glad you're part of Hobby Hotline for those that don't know, but you are, and I'm glad to have you part of that team. And as I always give the guests on this show, Victor, take you all the time you need. Give out your YouTube channel, your website, where everyone can find out what you're doing. All that work we talked about, all that due diligence that you're doing, tackling this subject of the rookie card and other stuff. That's not all you do. I don't want to make it out But that's definitely heavy centric of your platform. But where can people find all what you're doing, all your content?
Yeah, John, I appreciate it, man. Obviously, as you said, Hobby Hotline on
Yeah,
at least once a month.
yeah,
My YouTube channel is Victor the Rookie Card Specialist, and on my socials, you can find me on any social media platform at True underscore RCS. I'm sorry, any of the social platforms at True underscore RCS, and that is a spin-off of my website, which is TrueRookieCards.com.
yeah. If you type in Victor the rookie card, most likely if you Google that, you're gonna get probably 75% of Victor's stuff
Yeah,
that will
and I'm
produce.
also on Apple and Spotify. I forgot. I did start a podcast this year.
There there you go. So no shortage of Victor, and that's obviously a good thing. Well, I appreciate you making some time for us tonight, albeit through a tornado warning or watch,
Yeah,
and
we're okay.
thankfully, more more bark than bite there, and that's a good thing. And glad everyone's well, and we'll see you and talk soon. Thanks,
All right,
Victor.
John. Thank you.